Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip. Love, peace, and hair grease. Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve.
Hampton, but we the real HU, girl. Hi, everybody. Ooh, that's a lot of light going on. I was like, light. Hi, everybody. It's your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a wonderful day with your mothers. And for those of you whose mothers are watching over you, I hope that you were able to have some peace and solace nevertheless. I am Carla Renata, and you have tuned into the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. And what we do here is I do film reviews and talk to people above and below the line in the film industry. I have a jam-packed show for you. So I'm not going to waste any more time, but I will tell you that I normally start off every show talking about what I did the week before. So this time, what I did the week before is I met the fantabulous one and only Miss Alfre Woodard. So I was at a premiere party celebration for the series that I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. That's on BET Plus, called The Porter, that's dealing with the fight for unionization for porters in the 20s and the 30s. And Miss Alfre plays Faye on that series. She was fabulous. So this is what the Porter looks like on BET Plus. I have an interview with Miss Lorna and Miss Muna. Muna is on the right of your screen in the nursing outfit, and Lorna is on the left of your screen being the chanteuse. It's a really good show, y'all. You should check it out. And this is just a little tidbit of info from the party. They had a live combo there. They had some nice little snacks. It was really quite a really lovely thing to attend. I'm also going to talk about Firestarter. They're doing a remake of that, they've done a remake of that. It's directed by Keith Thomas, and I have Keith Thomas on the show for you today. So I'm going to talk to him about Firestarter. It was done before with Drew Barrymore when she was a little girl, so it's a little different, but not much. And I'll get into that in a little bit too. But I also have some reviews on a movie called The Innocents that centers around this little girl right here. Baby, I can't wait to talk to y'all about that. I have the director, Esco Voigt, that I'll be talking to, and I have the entire cast of Sneakerella, including NBA All-Star John Salley and the girl that played Malia Obama. And she's now playing I guess you could kind of see she's doing a little gender bending in Sneakerella, Miss Lexi Underwood. She was also in that series, that limited series that was on Hulu where she played Kerry Washington's daughter. So, honey, let's get right on into it. Let me find my little thing back here so I can talk to y'all again. Here we go. All right. So that's what I did last week. I went to the Porter premiere, and tonight, after I finish the podcast, I'm going to go check out Top Gun and Jurassic Park. And so I'll have interviews and be talking about that in a few. So, come back. If you have never been here before, come back and see me, because I'm going to be talking about all of that. But I'm going to kick the evening off with this interview from Lorna and Muna, who play respectively, well, I'll let them tell you who they play. They play Marlene and Lucy. So here we go. Lorna and Muna from BET Plus's The Porter. All right, so let's get into it. You guys, as a graduate of Howard University, I learned a lot about these historical figures that center in and around the story of The Porter. And I'm just wondering, how many of these people did you know about when you began your research for the project? And I'll start with Lauren first.
I also went to an HBCU, Clark Atlanta. But I knew about Marcus Garvey. I knew about another gentleman in the show whose name is blanking me right now.
Philip Randolph.
Yes, A. Philip Randolph. So I knew about him, but I did not know about the Porters. I didn't know the Porter. I actually went to the museum, the African American Museum in DC, and went and saw the Porter display. And I almost cried because I could not believe that I had gone so long and like never knew all about these incredible men.
There is a line at one point, and I forget which episode it's in. One of the characters, I think, is upset with Lucy, and she says, "You are black as coal and half as smart, and you're trying to shake and shimmy your way to respect." I want to know how both of y'all feel about that line, because that made me feel some kind of way. I'll start with Muna first.
Oh, go, yeah.
Well, I mean, as someone who has experienced bullying because of my skin color, I mean, it's infuriating, it's disgusting. But, you look at the time period and how divided people within the community were on color lines, because it meant that you had access to more, you had more status. I understand the pain it caused and the pain out of which produced that system.
The character was my mom who actually said that, which is so brutal to say to a daughter, but also sadly not that uncommon, to have that unfortunate circumstance being a dark-skinned daughter, but not in my life. But no, hearing that, it definitely hurt my feelings. I was like, dang, you didn't have to hit below the belt like that. I mean, it's already hard enough, especially during that time, being a dark-skinned woman. The least that you could do is have home be at least a safe place, at least having maybe a kinship with your mom of all people, who is also dark, but still hates on you for your complexion when you guys are the same color.
I feel like the women in this particular, and the men too, in this particular series, have the pressure to be diamonds, so to speak, in their respective lanes. Like Lucy has pressure to be a diamond as a performer. Marlene has pressure to be a diamond as a mother, a wife, a medical professional. And I just wanted to get you all's thoughts about that particular phrase and how it pertains to your characters. I'll start with Lauren first.
Lucy definitely had a lot of pressure, if from nobody else, from herself, because she was really fighting for herself, trying to believe in herself, going against all the odds that everybody was telling her that she was not enough. Society was telling her that she was not enough for her complexion, for her status, So I think that there was a lot of pressure, but not, I would say, from anybody else, because I think everybody else already kind of counted her out, except her best friend Zeke. But I mean, other than that, for herself, I think that she really wanted something to believe in. So I think she put a lot of pressure on herself to strive for greatness and be this star that seemed impossible.
Well, I think as Black people, if you want to better your circumstances, there's a lot of pressure naturally, because we live in a society where there's so many barriers to financial mobility, to resources within institutions. And so it's like something that we do to ourselves, because externally we're told that we're not good enough, that we're inferior. And so, you have to be the best. You have to be better than the best. And, for Marlene, I think for her, it's about independence and not needing to rely on white people, white spaces for access and for support, being able to be independent and have it for our own community, so that we don't have to ask for a handout, so that we don't have to rely on anybody else. And I think because she's on the ground and she sees what the community actually needs, I think that's sort of what propels her. It's just like, no, it's not good enough. Like, we need to do more. We can do more. We have to do right by our people. Because who else is going to? No one.
How important was it for you as Muna playing Marlene to have a kinship with another woman in the trenches working for Marcus Garvey and the NIA?
It's incredibly important because they're on the ground and they're spending their time together, and they're also friends. So it was really important for their characters to bond, but myself and Sabrin, who plays Gwen, to bond. You know, it's so crazy. When I first read the script and I imagined Gwen, for some reason I imagined Sabrin, this woman who was playing her on the show. That's the only person I ever imagined being Gwen when I was reading the script. And when she was cast, the first thing I did was reach out to her and, you know, try to build a friendship and a bond, you know, outside of work, because, you know, we have to bring that to camera and we wanted it to be natural. And so, and she made it so easy. You know, she was a new mom. She literally the baby was fresh out the womb, and then she came to set.
You guys, I think you have a hit on your hands, and I'm hoping that it gets picked up for a second season. It's really, really lovely to watch. I hope that more people like me will be interested in learning about this story. And as I said a zillion times, I'm so tired of hearing about Black history in a movie or on television, but I'm glad that the two women that brought it to the screen brought it, because at least now I know. So thank you so much for giving me your time this morning or this afternoon, depending on where you are. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Those young ladies are freaking fire on that TV series. And you guys, you know, I don't review TV shows because I work on television as an actress, which I say all the time. But I highly, highly suggest that you watch The Porter. The performances in that are fire. The book is fire. It's written by two women. You will really kind of love it. So check it out. It is streaming on BET Plus right now. I think it's about 8 or 10 episodes, and they go really, really fast. You'll love it. So I think, what do I want to talk? Oh, I want to talk about this film called The Innocents. I had talked about it a little bit in the intro when I was telling you guys about it, about the film. So it centers around this little girl named Anna. And it's directed by Esco Voigt, who we'll get to in a minute. It's produced by IFC Midnight. It will only be in theaters beginning May 13th, which is the end of this week on Friday. It stars Alva Ramstad, Mina Bresmith Asham, and Sam Ashraf. And it deals with during the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal their dark and mysterious powers when the adults aren't looking. In this original and gripping supernatural thriller, playtime takes a dangerous turn. Baby, woo! It takes a turn like no other. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play this interview with Esco, and then we'll talk about the film when I come back. Here we go. The director of The Innocents, Mr. Esco Voigt. This film kind of reminded me of like The Bad Seed with the telekinesis aspect added to it. And I really appreciated the fact that out of the 4 kids, Ida was the one who seemed to be the purest. Not Ida, Aisha seemed to be the purest of them all. What
was important to me was that all the characters have good and bad impulses, and even she can make a little bit fun of the others and laugh. And I mean, they are kids, you know, they do mistakes. They are feeling stuff and forgetting what consequences things have. And even the boy who becomes the most dangerous one, he is also just a victim. He's also just a kid. He has good feelings and bad feelings, but it just doesn't go well for him. So it's not like it's an evil kid story or like the black and white kind of Catholic worldview that a lot of horror movies have, that there's just like the God and the devil and good and bad. I think it's more gray, you know, and that's the story, is how to navigate that, how to find your set of values and find your limits of what you feel is right.
Father, have you ever had a moment in your career and in your life where you were like, I just need a hug from my mom and dad?
I can remember like not getting into film school. You know, I was really close. I felt I was an adult. You know, I was early 20s or something, and it was just so close and such a letdown. And what you of course want then is you just want to hug. You don't want to discuss it. You don't want someone to say, well, you could try next year, or maybe you do that a little bit better, or whatever. You just no talking.
You just want that hug. You just
Yeah.
want that. You just want that.
And I think, and my movie ends with a hug. Even though the parent have no idea what has happened, and no idea why her child is devastated and needs to be supported, but words wouldn't help. There's nothing to say, but even if you don't understand your child, you can still hug him or her.
And I'm interested to know if you did a lot of research into autistic families and how they behave, how the parents behave toward the autistic child, how the siblings behave toward the autistic child, and how all of that played into how you crafted Anna for the Innocents.
On that, and I read an interview with a Norwegian author, and she was explaining in a very open-hearted way, talking about her autistic son. And she described something she calls regressive autism, that her son was evolving normally with his language and communication and just singing and talking and communicating. And then suddenly when he was 3 or 4, he started to lose his language and retreating and entering that, lack of a better term, like autistic bubble. And I just felt that was so devastating to read that. It just haunted me, because that, for me as a parent, that's a horror film, Because of course, if your child is born with any disability or nonverbal or whatever, I would hope and think that I would just love that child as he or she is. But if you feel you lost something, if you were communicating and you lose that, it's a very complicated grief.
You're right. It is a complicated grief, because they're not gone in the physical realm. They're physically there, but they're not able, and you're not able to communicate to them as you would like. But with autistic children, they have those huge breakthrough moments, and they last for like a sliver of a second, the same way it does with someone who has dementia, right?
Yes,
they have those moments where they're lucid and not.
Dementia is a very good comparison, like on the other side of life, that you have that moment of clarity and, oh, he's back, and then they go away again. And it's beautiful and it's devastating at the same time. And also what we're saying about the hug, some autistic children don't like that kind of physical contact.
Yeah, so they don't like to be touched. It freaks them out. They don't like to be
touched in that way, and that means that you can't communicate, maybe, or you can communicate in different ways, but you can't even give that hug. It's such a and that's such a basic part of parenting, that you can always fall back on that kind of physical expression of your love. And it just felt, oh yeah, maybe this should be part of the story. Maybe that closed off world of childhood would be even more, it would be even clear to people that those themes with a nonverbal kid, and I could tell this story of that kind of regression with the supernatural powers, of course, and the expression that suddenly the autistic child opens up and then withdraws. And it just made sense to make that part of the story. And then, of course, I did a lot of research, talking to families and parents with nonverbal autistic children, talking to doctors and specialists, and reading and watching documentaries and all of that stuff, and just making sure that even though I'm making some sort of fable, because there's the supernatural elements, I want it to feel real and to not be an insult to people who are living that, and those family dynamics where one sibling is very demanding and the easy child is sometimes ignored, because you only have so many resources as a parent and time and focus. So sometimes the easy child is ignored and will feel jealous and will feel a lot of conflicting feelings, and all that seemed very interesting and true to the story.
Yeah, it really was. And I just want to close it out with one thing. It feels like Ben is a little bit of a bully. He's a little bit of a bully with some special powers, right? Have you ever been bullied in school to the point where it escalated to some type of violence like it does with these children?
I think Ben is a little bit of a bully because he's been bullied, which is often the case, that the language of violence is also something you learn. And the fact that you maybe don't have the best role models at home will also make it harder for you to develop your own sense of morality or control those feelings that are unacceptable of rage, jealousy, those things that we all feel, but are much stronger in some than others, and all that. So I've never been really bullied, but luckily I've never bullied anyone. I think that would be even worse thing to look back on, that you were part of that. And I know people have done that who really live with that guilt. But what I know I had, and what I see in my kids, is that anger, that you have, if you feel you're being badly treated or just something triggers you as a kid, you can have those explosions of anger. And in that moment, you could do something very stupid, And I know I was angry at my father while he was driving, and I threw like a coat over his head while he was driving on the highway. And I wasn't thinking,
Clearly.
Kids do that. Kids are, they don't think about the consequences. They are so in the moment and true to that feeling. And that feeling can change in a second, but that second can be devastating.
And I think that is one of the greatest things about the innocence. It's so psychological that it makes you think about so many different lanes and vantage points when it comes to being a child. It makes you kind of go back and think about, ooh, what kind of kid was I? Did I have those moments? You know what I mean? It really kind of makes you think. So I'm so grateful that you've made this film, because I was all in my feels about it. I really was. I had to watch it a couple of times because I'm like, oh, this is deep. It's a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. So thank you for that. Thank you for this interview. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And thank you for breaking some things down for me, because now I have a better understanding of some things that were going on. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for all the kind words and for talking about our movie. That's we need that. So thanks a lot.
I got you. Thanks so much. You guys, I really, really love talking to directors about their films, because they can give me an insight to what I saw that nobody else can, the directors and the writers. And I think they're like the unsung heroes of the film industry. We always have a tendency as critics and people who talk about film to focus so much on the actors that we forget, if it were not for the words or the design or the costumes or the soundtrack, there wouldn't be a whole lot to watch, really. So I just wanted to say that and put that out there. Oh my goodness. What is going on with me in this light today? It's just looking crazy. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so let me talk a little bit about the innocence, other than what we said in the interview. There, in the very beginning of the film, there's an extreme close-up on a child's face. No sound, just this extreme close-up on a child's face, and it's setting you up for what you are about to see. And the innocence, to me, is I guess synonymous with the innocence of a child being tainted by life, by all of the things that come at you as a human being, because children are born very innocent. They don't have any prejudice. They don't have any preconceived notions about anything. They come here and they're just beautiful, lovely human beings that are navigating in the world, right? And I talked about the little kids that play in the film. Aisha and Anna are connected. They're two little girls. Aisha is a little Indian girl who has a little bit of dysplasia on her face, and Anna is the little Nordic blonde girl. And they have a connection that's so fierce that when one of them when something happens to one of them, I don't want to say what it is because I really want y'all to see this movie. But when something goes down with one of them, the other one feels it very deeply. Now, this is the thing that I kind of sort of had a little bit of a problem with. Why were the brown children the ones who were damaged or bad? I just had problems with that. Why were the brown children the ones that were bad? Um, I also found myself through quite a bit of this film holding my breath. It was like the bad seed meets children of the damned, but it wasn't like it was more like a psychological thriller than it was a horror film. So I found myself being intrigued by this telekinesis concept, which the last time I saw a film dealing with telekinesis and children that was a horror film, it was Carrie, because Carrie had telekinesis. And if you don't know what telekinesis is, it's the ability to use your mind to move objects. So that's what it is. But check it out, you guys. It's in theaters, being produced by IFC Midnight on May 13th. That is The Innocents. Now, let's get into, do we want to talk about, well, let's talk a little bit about Doctor Strange. Let's talk a little bit about some Doctor Strange, baby. Now, Doctor Strange came out last week. And as you can see in this movie, there's all these schisms of different Doctor Stranges that are happening. And that's pretty much what's happening in this film. There are schisms of a variety of different Doctor Stranges going down. And this film is directed by Sam Raimi for Marvel. It stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda, and you might recognize that name and that character name from WandaVision on Disney Plus. Benedict Cumberbatch is back as Dr. Stephen Strange. Chiwetel Ejiofor is playing Baron Mordo, and I don't want to mess up her name. I think it's Jashidi Gomez plays America Chavez, and she's the first Latin LGBTQ character introduced into the Marvel Universe, which was great. And Benedict Wong is back again as Wong. So this time but we're dealing with Doctor Strange. He's cast a forbidden spell that opens the doorway to the multiverse, including alternate versions of himself, whose threat to humanity is too great for the combined forces of Strange, Wong, and Wanda. Now, what I'm gonna say about this is this. This is something that I did peep in the beginning when they introduced us to America. She had on this jacket that is it had what did it? It had America Has Two Loves on it. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Because remember how when Lin-Manuel Miranda accepted his Tony, he was like, love is love is love. And on her jacket, it says amor es amor. I loved that her jacket said that. I don't know if anybody else caught that, but I totally caught that. Um, the CG and the photography dealing with Strange crashing through the different dimensions of the different universes was everything. Everything. It started out kind of intense, but it stays intense for most of the movie. But I was there for all of it. I kind of was there for all of it. There's the whole Illuminati thing going on, where they have this fight with the Illuminati, and there's a cameo by someone who you'll recognize, who is part of another iconic franchise, which is all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin it for you. And it's quick and painless, and it happens very, very swiftly, but you'll totally love it. It gets to be very Walking Deadish at some point, which brings me to Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi is a director who's known for his fantabulous direction of horror films. He has brought horror in the thriller sense to the Marvel Universe. Y'all know I am not a huge fan of horror. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, Sam Raimi. At some point, child, my eyes was closed. I was watching a movie like this. It was a situation going on. It really was. But having said all of that, I kind of dug it. But what I dug the most was Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. She I was like, who is this Wanda? She left me a little conflicted. I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know how I feel about her, but I do know that I was feeling those costumes, every last bit of them. I was feeling all the CGI. I was feeling all the photography. I need for Doctor Strange to go back into the multi-universe again. And I loved his relationship with America. It was like she was like this little surrogate daughter for him. It was a great relationship. And of course, his relationship with Wong is what it is, but it's entertaining to watch nonetheless. So, you guys, if you have not seen Doctor Strange by Marvel Studios, please get yourselves to a theater and watch it. It's better on a big screen, actually. You might want to see this one on a big screen. All right. So again, Doctor Strange is streaming in theaters right now. Now let's talk a little bit, excuse me, about Sneakerella. Sneakerella is going to be on Disney Plus on May 13th. It's directed by Elizabeth Allen Rosenbaum, and it's a little gender bending tale centered around the fable Cinderella. So instead of Cinderella being a girl, she's a guy. Instead of Prince Charming being a guy, she's a girl. The girl is played by Lexi Underwood, who you've seen in the first lady with Viola Davis. She plays Malia Obama. You've seen her in Little Fires Everywhere with Kerry Washington, like I said earlier. Chosen Phillips plays Elle. John Salley plays Darius King, who is Lexi's character, Kiara King's daddy. And there are these two guys who play, they play the stepsisters, but in this version, they have stepbrothers. They're freaking hilarious. They are really funny. And they've taken Sneakerella, and what they've done is they've modernized the story and put it into a hip hop sort of situation. So instead of Cinderella, looking for the prince and the slipper and all of that, we've got Elle, who is a budding artist, and he wants to design sneaks. He's a sneakerhead. And so he wants to design these sneakerheads. He meets Kiara. She comes from a dynasty that produces shoes, like that's their thing. And that person is Darius King, who's played by John Salley. Anyway, it takes place in New York, and it deals with the sneaker culture. Now, there's going to be some people that look at this and they're going to feel some kind of way, because they're going to feel like it's very stereotypical because it's rap and all of this. They're like, oh, why couldn't they do it? Listen, everybody got an opinion. They like buttholes. Everybody got one. But I kind of dug it. I dug the costumes. I really dug the costumes. I really dug the soundtrack. And I really dug the fact that we had an NBA All-Star in the musical, John Salley. But before I get to any of that, I'll let him tell you about that himself. Let's hear from the director herself, Elizabeth Allen Rosenbaum, talking about Sneakerella and her favorite Disney classic. I gotta ask you, I loved this so much. I'd never seen this kind of spin on the Cinderella story. What made you come up with this? Why did you want to do this?
Well, the script came to me as like in the beginning form. It wasn't a musical when I got it, but the idea was in there. And the idea being that it was a gender swapped concept of of Cinderella, where, the woman is in the power position of like wearing the pants and being the Princess Charming, basically. And that our young hero is the one who's in touch with his feelings and, has big dreams. And so I loved the idea of leaning into that and flipping the script. So that's why I pursued it.
The old Cinderella song, which I love, I caught that. I caught that y'all used Cinderella, the dream that you wish will come true, right? How long did it take you to film that dream sequence?
That was basically a two-day process. But that being said, they trained for a while ahead of time because Ebony Williams and Emilio Dosel, who were the choreographers, they came up with it, they conceived of it, and they did it first, and then they taught it to our actors. And, it was a really special moment because like you're hearing this song resonate. I remember looking over at the monitor and seeing Lexi's mom watching her daughter dance to a dream is a wish your heart makes as like basically a Disney princess. And it kind of made you pinch yourself because it has this legacy and it felt so real, that we got a chance to do it.
What's your favorite Disney fable?
I would guess at this point it's Cinderella because I've just like thrown myself into it. I mean, I swear it's like there's so much about the iconography that I've like watched and studied and really appreciate. But I also really like The Little Mermaid because Ursula is my favorite villain, I think.
Love Ursula. She's so deliciously yummy.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it about Cinderella that just resonates with you? Is it a childhood thing? Is it something that you connect with as an adult or both? Love Ursula. She's so deliciously yummy.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it about Cinderella that just resonates with you? Is it a childhood thing? Is it something that you connect with as an adult or both?
I think it was a childhood thing. And I feel like it's traditional in the sense that it was sort of yearning to be retold, where suddenly, Cinderella isn't quite so passive and where the fairy godmother isn't just waving her wand and like making dresses and princes appear for her, but where, again, we switch the roles and we sort of like watch someone find their power from within. And so that was what I think was what I liked about the raw material is how much potential it had to sort of retell it.
And how did you get John Salley to be in a Disney Plus movie? That right cracked me up. I was like, there is John Salley in a Disney Plus flick.
Yeah, well, he actually really wanted the role. He actively pursued it and he started sending us videos of himself rapping. And he said it was always his dream to be in a musical. And he has like a big history of rap. He had always wanted to be a rap star, but then also he has an album, a record label that has some rap stars on it. So he was really game and he was so fun to work with.
Well, thank you so much for answering my questions, Liz. This has been a pleasure, and I look forward to telling everybody about Sneakerella.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was really nice to meet you.
You guys, I kind of love this movie. I'm trying to find, so I found some other things about it that I wanted to tell you. The Chosen and Lexi have great chemistry. The songs are very catchy. There's a great premise, like I said, with a little black boy being Cinderella, so he's Sneakerella. It takes place in Queens. I love that they give Kira the task of finding a designer in 2 weeks and that she's already met him. I kind of love that. The premise is cute. It kind of takes a minute to get to the heart of the matter, but once you're there, you're there. And the gala dream sequence, that dream sequence that I talked to Liz about, where they do it to the Cinderella theme song, which is what your heart makes. I love it so much. Anyway, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, I'll get on with the show. So I think I'm going to let you talk to Chosen and Lexi before we get to John Salley, because John Salley is crazy. So let's get to Chosen, who plays Elle, and hear what he has to say. And you're going to be surprised to hear his background. Wait till you hear it. This is Chosen Jacobs from Sneakerella.
Hi. I love the room.
I love your room. I'm like, what is up with the piano in the back? Do you play?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Child, don't be talking about yes, ma'am, but I appreciate
I'm from the South.
Right.
I'm from the South.
The fact that your parents raised you right. What's your favorite song to play on the Ivories?
Oh, Moonlight Sonata was the first song I learned, so I love that. A Song for You, Donny Hathaway. I love the intro for that. A lot of favorites.
Yeah, I love A Song for You too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been so many places. Yeah, I love that song.
Yes,
so let's talk about you. It's all about you. Dude, how you go from being in a horror franchise to musicals? It's like one's over here, one's over there.
I mean, as an actor, as an entertainer, as an artist, that's the goal, is to just keep pushing ourselves and see what else we can do. And I've just been really blessed to have a lot of opportunities to do some really cool projects. And Sneakerella is a dream role for me. It allowed me to really go in my toolbox and pull out everything from singing to dancing to acting. Everything. And it's a movie for everyone.
Were those sketches your sketches, or did someone draw those?
Someone drew those. Now that's one of the skills I do. I was
You're like,
never.
I got a lot of skills, but that would not be one of them.
I have some skills. Art in the drawing format is not one of them at this point in time.
Tell me where your name came from.
My dad named me. There's a whole story, but I'm gonna butcher it. So
I need to hear it.
I don't know it. I don't know it right. I always say it, and then my mom's like, "Chosen, that's not it." I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I will say.
Okay.
Look, next time I will have it together. I'll have it together.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook for that one. So I know you've been singing since the age of 6 with the Georgia Boys Choir, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite musical theater role to date?
I think I'm biased because the first like musical theater I ever really saw was The King and I really loved. That was the first time I ever went to the Fox Theater in Atlanta, and that was my first time ever doing theater on that level. And like I was just like on the ensemble, but it was so epic. So I say The King and I is one of my favorites, I have to say.
Okay,
yeah.
Lexi and I were talking because I know she was Nala in The Lion King.
Yeah.
I was Shenzi in The Lion King. So I was like, let's find out from Chosen what his favorite musical is.
Yes.
And you literally are like the Prince Charming in this scenario. How did you feel like stepping into that shoe? So
it was awesome. I mean, like I never would have guessed to be like Cinderella. Like whoever would have thought they would flip it like that. So it's not even a dream I was able to have, and for it to be a reality now is so cool. Such a blessing.
Did you like the gender flip, and that instead of a slipper, it was the sneaks?
Yeah, I thought it was cool because I feel like Cinderella is an ideal. It's not just a physical attribute. It's an underdog. It's a character who's been given cards that it has to learn how to flip them. It has to learn how to persevere through them and so gracefully. So I was just very happy to be able to continue that legacy and have the baton passed to me.
Cool. Well, I'm going to pass another baton to you and see you later.
Ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chosen. This was a lot of fun. I wish you well.
So much. I wish you the best. God bless you.
He's so delightful and such a respectful young man. Your parents did right, boy. Your parents did right. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all listen to Miss Lexi Underwood from Sneakerella. Hi, Lexi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, are you a sneakerhead?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a sneakerhead. Like,
what are your favorite pair of kicks?
Gosh, that's really hard, but I would have to say you can never go wrong with a fresh pair of Jordans. I have a pair of Mocha Jordans in my closet currently, and I wear them like there is no tomorrow. I'm obsessed with them. Those would have to be like my all-time favorite.
Now talk to me about this singing. Had you sung before?
I had actually. The very first role that I had ever booked was on Broadway. I played young Nala in Disney's The Lion King. And so,
okay, girl, we got that in common.
Yeah.
I was Shenzi in The Lion King.
Seriously? Oh my gosh. Wait, Broadway National Tour?
I did the original LA company.
Incredible. That is so incredible. Wow.
Bananas.
Okay. Yes, Lion King family. So yes, right, we in here. But I played young Nala, and so it was really cool to be able to tap back into those roots. Because I hadn't done a musical or tapped back into that since leaving Lion King. So it was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. I loved it. I loved watching you sing. You look so ethereal and just absolutely stunning. It was really wonderful to watch you do that. Now let's talk about this wardrobe, because you had the last of the wardrobe. Did you have any say in what your character was wearing?
I did and did not. There was a big selection of clothes at the top, and I came in with a mood board. It's something that I do for all of my characters. Kind of like go on Pinterest and I search up like just how I want my character to look, what her vibe is, all those things. And especially with sneakers, I really wanted to be able to really, I wanted you to be able to see who Kira was through her sneakers, because that's the way in which they express themselves. And so that was really what I had the most say in, was sneakers, and just kind of like the kicks that I wanted to wear. Wardrobe, not necessarily, but with sneakers, it was really cool because the movie is about sneakers. So the fact that we were able to kind of like create that from the jump, what Kira's signature sneakers are, was really dope.
What's Lexi's signature sneaker?
Lexi's signature sneaker, a fresh pair of Jordans. A fresh pair of Jordans. Jordans. I mean, literally,
like Jordans are my favorite. That's what I'm sticking with.
Are like, I'm trying to think, and I'm just like, I really can't. Like, you know what though? I have a dope pair of custom like bedazzled Air Force Ones. It was actually a wrap present for Sneakerella. My parents got me them, and they're so fly. So I would maybe say those are a signature sneaker, because they're like really cool and like chill, but they also have a sparkle, and I feel like that's also a way to describe me.
Okay. I could get with that. One last question for you. John Salley is a legendary NBA player. What was it like for you to have him playing your dad?
It was so cool. I mean, he was just, his energy is so bright and infectious. And definitely growing up, I mean, I was well aware of who John Salley was. My dad is a huge basketball fan, so he was definitely a little more geek than I was. But then after like one conversation with John, I was like, I understand why you're fangirling, because John is like the coolest person ever. And so being able to create that, you know, that chemistry and really work out that complex relationship between, you know, that father and daughter aspect, it was really cool. And you know, I feel like that chemistry kind of shows on screen, hopefully.
It does. And speaking of chemistry, you and Chosen had some insane chemistry.
Oh, yay.
Were the dance sequences crazy for y'all to like get together? Was the rehearsal process hard?
Rehearsal process was a little hard, but I feel like I owe the rehearsals for the way that our chemistry is on screen, because being able to be in such an intimate setting and doing dances like literally like for hours upon hours upon hours, like motivating and pushing each other and being there for one another, that really helped create that bond. And it was really interesting. We had to like work out all the kinks and stuff in rehearsals, but by the time that we got to set and it was time to do those dance numbers, it wasn't even like we were doing a job. It was just like we were having fun and just being free in the moment. And that's really dope, because sometimes you don't get that on set.
That's true. And it showed y'all had a lot of fun. That's my time, Lexi. Thank you so much. This was delightful. And so are you.
It was so great to talk to you. It was great meeting you as well.
I love her. Isn't she such a bright light? But before I get to John Salley, I want to talk about Firestarter. I just want to talk a little Firestarter, honey, because it's Firestarter and I have to talk about it. So let's talk a little bit about Miss Firestarter, shall we? So Firestarter is going to be in theaters on 5/13. And it's directed by Keith Thomas, who you will hear from in a few minutes. It's produced by Jason Blum. It has a score by John Carpenter, who did the score the first time around. And it's a remake of a film that was done, like I said before, with Drew Barrymore. And it deals with this young girl named Charlie, who tries to understand how she mysteriously gained the power to set things on fire with her mind. Other stars in the movie are Zac Efron, who plays Andy McGee, Charlie's father, Ryan Kiera Armstrong, who plays Charlie, Gloria Rubin, who plays Captain Hollister, Michael Grey Eyes, who plays Rainbird. Now, this is what I needed to know. When I talked to Keith Thomas, I needed to know all about this bleeding from the eyes situation, because it was just bothering me. And what I really loved about this version is that in 1984, that's when the other version was, George C. Scott played Rainbird. Rainbird is a Native American character. And, you know, back in the day, they would just have anybody playing somebody that was Black, Native American, Latino. And most of the time, it would be somebody white. But I love the fact that Keith Thomas actually got somebody that was Native American, Michael Grey Eyes, to play Rainbird. So I kind of love that. And I loved that Keith collaborated with John Carpenter on this score. But without further ado, let me go ahead and let y'all hear from Mr. Keith Thomas himself, because he's going to break some things down for you in a way that I cannot. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Firestarter director Keith Thomas.
Okay, for the flames, Keith.
What do you think of all this business?
Listen, you are starting your own fire on the screen. I dig it. I wore red for you because I can't have flames behind me.
Nice. Nice.
If I had flames behind me, it'd be a situation up and through here.
Right, we'd be worried.
Listen, a lot of times in this film, Charlie is told that she's special. And special can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. But what does being special mean to you?
I think being special, and especially in relation to Charlie in this movie, is not so much her powers and not so much those things she can do, but it's kind of her empathy. It's the fact that she wants to do the right thing. And even though as attractive as some of the destructive element might be, and I think we've all been there. I certainly know when I was 12, I would have been, happy to burn the heads of bullies. You may have that feeling, but knowing not to do that is the key thing. And I think that's what makes her special.
The bleeding of the eyes for Zach. Was that CGI?
No.
Okay, you got to tell me how you did that, because I was like, what the hell?
So Zach, it was funny, obviously Zach's got these beautiful eyes.
Right.
And I was like, and Zach's like, I want, like, when we do this, when I do the push, when I do this thing, like, let's go for it. Let's just do it. So we have these eye drops that are these kind of red blood-like eye drops that we'd shoot the scene, put them in, and he'd start blinking and they'd start coming down. We'd add more if we needed them. But it was, I don't think they're comfortable. But Zach was just totally into it. He was like, more, let's go. I want to see that. And what's funny is I thought it would be like, I don't think you can make him ugly. I don't think there's a way you could do it. But I thought, okay, if we put these blood in his eyes, it's going to make it. But somehow those bright eyes just kept shining, like, even through all that stuff.
Yeah, they were shining bright like diamonds, no pun intended. I just real quick, I want to talk about John Carpenter and the soundtrack. How did you guys collaborate on that? Because I really liked it.
Yeah, thank you. It was amazing. I mean, for me, it was just an incredible opportunity to work with him. I didn't think it would happen, but amazingly it did. And, John, I mean, he's been in the industry so long, so many influential scores that we had talked initially. I said, kind of, here's what I'm feeling. Like, this is what I think it should sound like. And he was like, I got it. Like, that's what I do. I know this. And so every week we would meet and we would go over the tracks and just talk about things and adjust. But it was a really easy process, and he just got the movie from the get-go, and he knew exactly what he was going to bring to it, and it was even better than I expected.
Well, thank you, Keith, for answering my questions. I appreciate it. That is my time. Good luck with Firestarter.
Thank you.
I got to go out talking about the flames because I'm digging the flames.
Thank you. I've got some water here. I'm safe.
Okay, good. Bye.
I really enjoyed talking to Keith. He had jokes. But y'all, Firestarter it's a little slow burn of a movie. It is. It's a slow burn of a movie. They had some little horror moments up and through there too, where I was looking at the movie with my eyes closed. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm weak. I can't handle it. But and we already talked about that blood in the eyes moment with Zac Efron. Zac Efron was really good though. I kind of enjoyed him in this movie. And the little girl that plays Kira, Miss Ryan, look out for this name, Ryan Kira Armstrong. That little girl was excellent, just excellent. But what I really loved out of the whole movie is the fact that Miss Gloria Rubin, y'all remember Gloria Rubin from ER? Miss Gloria Rubin played Captain Hollister, honey, and she came with both barrels blazing. No holds barred. She was not trying to have any shenanigans from anybody, and she would step over you if she needed to get what she needed to get and go where she needed to go. I dug her so much. I dug her, and I don't think I've ever seen Gloria Rubin play that kind of role. I need for her to do some more of those. I loved her in that part. So again, Firestarter is a Jason Blumhouse, a Blumhouse Productions film joint, directed by Keith Thomas with a John Carpenter score, and it will be in theaters on May 13th. So to close it out, since, you know, I got to have some fun on the Curvy Critic, I'm going to close it out with my boy John Salley, because, you know, well, I'll just let the interview explain it. So here we go. John Salley from Sneakerhead, from Sneakerella. Hey, John Salley.
Hey, Curvy. I like that name of that title of that show.
The Curvy Critic, you like that?
Curvy Critic. That's great.
Now you're going to gag, but we actually have met before. I was Shenzi in The Lion King, and you came backstage to say hello to the cast.
Yes, I did. I think about every time Lexi talks about The Lion King, I just don't tell her like how many times I've seen it. And when I went backstage. So how are you?
I'm good. When Lexi and I talked about it, because she was Nala, I guess, on Broadway, and I did it out here in LA. So I was like, I'm gonna tell John Salley when I talk to him. So we got that out of the way, got the niceties out of the way. So I hear that you have always wanted to be in a musical. Is that true?
That's it. Yeah, I've always wanted to be an actor.
Really?
Everybody I know will tell you that. And so the fact that they're doing a premiere in New York, I invited the people who I used to tell who didn't tell me I was crazy. I have my coach Ted Gustis, my boy Glenn Daniels, who is one of the only guys I talked to from my high school team, and they get it. They get it. They were like, "Yo, I'm coming to see you because all you talked about is being in movies and being a musical. Like, I'm the first NBA player, I think, to be in a musical or to do any kind of steps in rapping. And then I wanted to be an MC, so I get to live my life while living my life while emulating my life in this movie."
That is awesome. You've had two big things happen. You've been in the NBA and you have been able to fulfill this dream of being an actor. And now you're in a musical, rapping, dancing, doing your thing. Get it, boy.
Yes, I'm putting it on. It's all happening.
I love that. Darius King he's strong, but he's a little bit of a softie when it comes to his youngest daughter. Do you have kids?
Oh, of course. And they say the same thing. This is what I'm telling you. I had to emulate my life. Like, my daughter Tyler and I are in business together. And then my daughter Taya is 19 and it was like, well, I think we should do this. And I was like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, where'd you get in? But I got it. And I got exactly how that would be. Where are you trying to fit in? You know, I provided them a wonderful life, right? But it's provided. So they had to realize if I'm not providing it, they don't have the life. So I teach, you have to provide your life. This is the start. This is how you do it. This is how you get to it. So I really think this movie shows that. And Lexi Underwood is unbelievable. She was unbelievable on TV when I saw her. She was unbelievable on Broadway. You know, as a young child, this is the next one. And when they start talking about it, we'll start seeing it. This is the next one. This is the one that the critics are going to be. We don't like this. We don't like this. We love this. We don't like this. You know, she has to get, and I think she already has that ability to ward things off because she's so talented.
Look at you talking about her like a true daddy.
Yeah, I like a true. But then, like, it's so funny because I like my daughter's boyfriends all the time. Like, you know, I'm not one of those crazy dudes that have a problem. And I love this kid Chosen, like this kid Chosen Jacobs. I'm telling you, I'm going to be able to say, I've done a movie with these two people. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to be able to say that. Or my grandkids are going to be able to, you know, Grandpa was in a movie with him. You know, it's going to say it. It's what's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, his name is Chosen. His name is Chosen, and I believe that's for a reason.
No question.
It's so wonderful to see you again. It's really wonderful to see you on the screen. I remember it took me a minute to figure out it was you and Bad Boys in the very first one. And then once I figured it out, I'm like, oh, John Salley can act? What? I was there for all of it, and I'm there for you in Sneakerella too.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, brother. I'll see you again soon. I love talking to John Salley. He's such a gracious and warm, ethereal kind of spirit. I love how he gave big ups and props to his young co-stars, Chosen Jacobs and Lexi Underwood, saying that they're going to be the next big up and coming thing. And he's not wrong in that assessment. So check out Lexi, Chosen, and John Salley and Sneakerella when it hits Disney Plus this Friday on May 13th. Make sure you check out The Innocents, INNOCENTS, IFC Films, which will be in theaters on May 13th. Make sure you check out Firestarter, which is also going to be in theaters on May 13th. And what was the other film I talked about? Oh, and make sure you check out Doctor Strange if you have not done so already. If nothing else, for Elizabeth Olsen, honey, because she is giving me life. Before I get up out of here, I want to talk about what my little friend Brandon always says. He's told me that he had a great weekend. He watched part 2 of the series finale of Amphibia and can't believe the final episode is coming this week, and he can't wait to see Bob's Burgers movie this month. I will be seeing Bob's Burgers movie this month, so I will tell you all about that, Brandon, and I'll make sure that you have enough time to get it together to tune in. So again, if this is your first time joining me, please give me a big old thumbs up to let me know that you were here. Click that bell for notifications. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. You never know who you might see here. You might see me in some busted light. I don't know. Any rate, and stay safe, wash your hands, live your life, honey, live your life. We got one life. We only got one chance to do the daggone thing. So do it. Do it to the best of your ability and have a great time while you're doing it. I'm Carla Renata, the Curvy Film Critic, and I will see you on the flip side. Oh, wait, before I see you on the flip side, let me tell you what I got for you next week. I almost forgot. So next week, I'll have the entire cast from Downton Abbey. I will have a review on Jazz Fest and the Valet with Eugenio Derbez. And then by the end of May, I got everything Jurassic World. I'm probably going to cover like 2 shows just dealing with Jurassic World because it's so all encompassing. And a new show on Netflix, a new David E. Kelly show. I have interviews from that with a few cast members. It's called The Lincoln Lawyer. It will be on Netflix. I want you guys to check that out. It's really good. Okay, so this time I really am gonna go. Okay, I'll catch you on the flip. I'll catch you on the flip side. Love, peace, and hair grease until the next time. Deuces.